wanted to do a little bit more positive video last night. I was really grumpy when I was getting ready to do the video. I was ready to have a right old moan about it. However, Tomas Soucek scored the goal, and obviously my mood changed instantly. But I thought, well, hold on a second. What I didn't want to do was forget all the things that annoyed me during the previous 89 minutes. And just for a little bit of context here, West Ham did have a depleted team. There you go. So, yeah. So I think the team we put out against Backa Topola probably wasn't all the £400 million worth of players. You know what? We probably only had a £200 million team out there playing a team that probably didn't cost $2 million. So there you go. But it's not just that. I understand that these things happen, right? You know, sometimes the underdog wins, and they didn't. West Ham won. Sometimes James Buster Douglas knocks out Mike Tyson, or Francis Ngannou puts Tyson Fury on his arse. Whatever the case may be, I understand that things happen. But overall, you do expect the cream to rise to the top. And I think it did do at the end. But we can't keep relying on Tomas Soucek to rescue us. That's for sure. There was a few things that annoyed me, really annoyed me in that game. And I mean, I said in last night's video, if the players can't be asked, why should they expect anyone else to be? There were a lot of players who could not be bothered in that game. And I thought it was a pretty disgusting performance from a lot of them. I know I mentioned Ben Rama. And I went into a little bit of detail in the review last night. But let's get something right here. David Moyes must have a really big problem with Maxwell Cornet if he keeps starting Ben Rama ahead of him. I really don't know what it is. Now, I'm not suggesting for a moment that Maxwell Cornet is the best winger in the world. He's not. But I tell you what, he's more effective and he's better than Ben Rama. And Ben Rama's a nice guy. I always feel bad doing these videos when you know that someone's a nice guy and a nice person. You have to dig him out, and that's all it is. He can still be a nice guy. He's a great father, great son. Whatever. He could be the best human being in the world, right? But as a winger for West Ham, he's awful. I mean, he really is. He posed no threat at all. Let me tell you this now. In that game, I think Agurd and Ben Johnson made more threatening passes to the Backa Topola defence than Saïd Benrahma did. They had more threat. And that is an insult. It's not meant to be a nice thing to say. That's how bad I thought he was. Lots of step overs, lots of flattering to deceive. It was pretty awful stuff. So what is it? I mean, I'm glad David Moyes hooked him. The only thing I was surprised about was actually he didn't hook Fornals as well, for different reasons. They were both completely ineffective. Basically, David Moyes surrendered the wing positions. He really, really did. And then the other thing that Moyes did was he only made like-for-like changes. Now, I understand, in the end, someone could be watching this and thinking, you absolute idiot, David Moyes got it right, he won the game, all right? And he did at the end, his tactic worked out. But at the moment, our tactic relies upon late in games, Tomas Soucek rescuing us. That's it. That's the tactic, and it can't keep happening. I'll be honest with you. I'm surprised it's happened again. All right, but whatever. Nottingham Forest, Burnley, now Backa Topola. It's not just he's rescuing us. I'm sorry, he's rescuing us against crap teams. Quite frankly, we can't keep relying on that. I mean, and it was amazing actually to watch these like-for-like changes, a left-back for a left-back, a right-back for a right-back. OK, you can make the argument that Thilo Kehrer is not a right-back, but he was still, you understand what I'm saying, the shape didn't change. We had no penetration up front at all. So he took Mubama off and put Danny Ings back on. He takes off a winger, he puts on a winger. What about changing the shape? What about a 4-4-2? None of it. And I just think we lack real inspiration. And it was such a rescue job from as I say, from Soucek. It was seriously worrying, I've got to be saying. And anyway, so this Cornet situation, why is he not featuring more? What is it? Is it as simple as I keep talking about and thought it would be, that he's somehow he's still on the naughty step because he went away and got his treatment last year? At some point, you've got to let things go. You can't keep holding a grudge, can you? Don't get me wrong. In the case of Wilfried Zaha, I think David Moyes is well within his rights to keep holding a grudge. But give the boy a chance. Give Cornet a chance. Because the rest of it is cutting off your nose to spite your face. And I've got to say, to see Mubama toil like that, you've got to give that boy a chance. Now, I've said it on this channel, right, numerous times. It looks to me as if the real talent in the centre-forward position is probably going to be Marshall, who's down in the who's basically scoring goals for fun at the under-21s. That being said, he's a different player to Mubama, and they can both play in the same team. I've seen them both do it. But at the moment, I think Marshall is our best option, whether it's him or Danny Ings, right? But give him a chance. And actually, it was when I was watching when I was watching Mubama running around on his own, isolated. I don't know if you had the same thing. I actually found myself feeling it a bit for Danny Ings, actually. Well, this is what he has to put up with. It's a thankless task. It's a joyless system. And I can't have been the only one. And I love West Ham, right? I really do. And I know you all love West Ham as well, otherwise you wouldn't be watching this video. And I'm like anyone else. I read everything I can. I look at everything I can. I have a real interest in the players. When the team comes out, I get excited about it. I start thinking in the build-up to a game which player's going to play. You have your certain favourite players. You look forward to seeing them. See, it's easy to get excited about West Ham. The point I'm making is it's not easy to get for your football team to bore you. That's quite a hard thing to do because you're invested in it. You love them. You're excited about them. You just love your team. Your whole life you've been invested in your team, right? And I just mean it's not an easy thing for you to get bored with your football team. I watched that and I was utterly bored. Utterly bored watching it. And it is not David... I will say this. I do not think it's David Moyes' job in an away game to entertain me or you. Funny enough, I do think in home games, particularly when you want to move a club from a 35,000-seater stadium to a 66,000-seater stadium, I do think it's your job to entertain the fans because you want to try and encourage people and get bums on seats. However, that being said, I do think that's important in the home games. I do think in an away game in Europe, you've got no duty to entertain anyone. If anyone, you want to go out there and frustrate the opposition and go and nick the win. And from that point of view, well done. Job done, but my word, it was boring. It was tedious. It was absolutely horrendous, and I don't know. It's a shame because I do want to give David Moyes every single chance. I really do, and I like to think I've been, as reasonable as most about him. I really do, and I'm grateful, really, really grateful for what he's done. And I actually want him to turn it around. I wanted him to be able to work with Tim Steidten. I want him to actually look at it and think, right, it's not working. Just show us something, switch it, give us another attacker on the pitch every now and again. Because this is hard. I mean, this is hard. Watching the team, let's be fair, Burnley were better than us, right? And we beat them. Backa Topola were better than us for a lot of that game, and we beat them. Forest, I think they were better than us probably for about 55, 60 minutes, and we beat them. But it's hard to watch it, right? It's hard to watch it. Anyway, mate, I'd be interested to know what you think. I know there's going to be a number of people who go, say, yeah, we're as frustrated as you. It was terrible to watch. And there'll be a number of people who say, get over it. We won. What's your problem? I understand it, and all opinions in between. But surely even the most ardent David Moyes fan and West Ham fan must have watched that game. And it's not just watching the game. You're watching the game on telly unless you were out there. And not only that, you're seeing the Freiburg score, the Freiburg Olympiacos score popping up in the corner of the screen. And that's a team that gave us a real game, Olympiacos. Well, they beat us once, but, they were a test, weren't they? As an opponent, they were a test. And you're watching this other team where we got to play in the next round, the final group game, Freiburg, putting goal after goal after goal. And you're watching this just like a ticker tape, this scoreline. And all at the same time, we're toiling to try and break down this team. Fabianski's making saves to keep us in the game. And we've got players who are basically doing more for the opposition than... I mean, that left side just wasn't working, let's be fair, West Ham's left side. But we've got players who are doing more for the opposition than they're doing for West Ham. I'm talking about West Ham players there. Even the most ardent David Moyes supporter must have watched that game and thought, oh, this is bad. This is rank bad. And yes, Kudus was missing, Bowen was missing, Alvarez was missing. But James Ward-Prowse did cost £25 million. You know what I mean? There is a £50 million midfielder in there in Lucas Paquetá. I think the combined total, I would imagine the combined total of Mavropanos and Naifer Gerd is over £50 million. The two centre-backs, £50 million. I mean, the wingers, £50 million wingers. I mean, come on, you know, this is the thing. And then we bring on a striker in the second half who's, well, rumoured to be on 100 grand a week. We should be beating these people out of sight. And all David, so we got good players. I mean, I think we've established that. All David Moyes got to do is put a system together that allows them to thrive. Anyway, sorry, excuse me for starting off. Well, I say start, actually finishing off the end of the week with a right old moan.